This is Tom, our superintendent, Bellevue Community School District in Bellevue, Iowa, coming you with this month's Believe in the Blue update, or this week's Believe in the Blue update. Want to go over a few things that happened at the board meeting on Monday evening. First of all, I want to congratulate Mike Reed, our current president, and Allison Boniface, another board member, stakeholder for us, who were both elected in the school board elections last week. So congratulations to both of them for beginning another term on the school board. We will have our actual formation of the board again at our December meeting, because the canvas of the vote was actually on Tuesday. Our meeting was on Monday. Some things that happened though at the meeting: we had consent agenda. That way we did hire Chase Junk as assistant high school girls basketball coach. We had some visitors in the crowd, which I'll get to in a little bit of who those people were. We had a common curriculum presentation that dealt with a bunch of those people. We had Jackson Capacious. We had going on a blank here, Jackson Capacious, Ryan Ring, and Adrian Humphrey, along with their teacher, Tracy Weber, for work-based learning, who came and visited about the program that they're doing, where they're working at and what they're doing. Adrian is working at three local vet clinics. Jackson Capacious is working for a farmer or a business person outside of town, and Ryan Ring is working for Canine Comfort in town here, all getting very valuable experience for themselves, not only now, but for their future as well. Mrs. Weber started this program this year. We've had something similar, formalized it much more for this year. We have 8 students involved right now. That number this upcoming semester is going to get up to 12, more than likely, where they're gone for a morning or an afternoon at a work site all day long. We have people anywhere from Dubuque down to Green Island at the DNR station, to people at the elementary school, to people at the businesses I mentioned, and some other places as well. Had just a brief discussion on enrollment. We're up over 30 students this year, which is a great thing that way. Talked about some extra spending authority we will get based upon that. Later on in the meeting, we talked about that. Talked about next year and sections and the possibility of needing a modular or a portable building. I'm looking into some of those details. Our budget is strong right now. We have an unspent authorized budget right around 25%, and our solvency ratio is 29%. While you may not mean what those numbers, while you may not know what those numbers exactly mean, ultimately it comes down to this: the money that we've saved over the years and have the authority to spend in the future. And that 25% is very good for us as a district overall. Facilities update one, we're doing an assessment of the elementary building once again to see where we're at with that, cost of potential repairs or renovations, or other options out there, just looking at costs overall. Tim Roth, another visitor who was at the meeting, talked about an outdoor education area, looking at some of the land to the north and to the west of the current middle school, high school building, and looking at an outdoor recreation area, including a pond, a walking trail around it, and the potential of looking at some grants from the Iowa Department of Natural Resources and some other things dealing with conservation. So it's a very interesting potential project for us. The school would not put much money toward this, if any at all, but looking at through grants and some other things. But the DNR would likely stock the pond. It'd be a fishing area, just some other community connections that way, and outdoor education for our science classes, our ag classes, elementary classes, other classes in general, the things we can learn from the outdoors. So we're looking at that and seeing where that may possibly go for us that way. There has been some interest there. And in the board notes, the comment highlights on the website share some information on that as well, and a diagram of about where that would be, just rough estimates. The board gave the go ahead to explore that and see what's out there, see what funding is out there for us to utilize, and see where we're at. We do not want to take money away from making some other improvements in buildings that we need, specifically at the elementary and some other areas as well, with an ag building, STEM, makerspace, all those kind of things that way. But we want to look at this and see what can we do with the funding we have, the funding that we can get potentially from some grants. We also had the survey. The survey is also available on the district website that way, under the superintendent's page where the comment highlights are. There's a parent survey. 164 parents filled that survey out. It was only sent to parents. So we had some good information from that. There's a summary of information there. Really made some strong improvements in some areas that way. And a large majority were in agreement with the statements that way. I'm talking 95% of the people in agreement with most of the statements in that way, or I should say less than 5 or 10% who were in disagreement. Maybe it's a better way of saying it. With the Iowa School Board Convention coming up, mentioned that to the board members. I know Mike Reed, the current president, is going out to that for delegate assembly. I'm going out to that. Some other board members may as well, but that is next week. Legislative update. I shared some information from the Rural School Advocates of Iowa, RSAI, some different things they have in regard to where we at financially in the state of Iowa for support for public schools overall. And we also had some information on, I shared some information on board policy updates. While we normally do most of those in the summertime, we are going to put a few other ones in throughout the year to make it more meaningful for people so we can look at those a little closer and to add those. There's been a lot of policy changes that way from the state of Iowa. We want to kind of add those as we go through the year instead of waiting until the end of the year. We also talked about a potential whole grade sharing agreement with the Andrew Community School District. We currently share grades 9 through 12. They are looking at the possibility of sharing their middle school grades 7 and 8, or possibly 6, 7, and 8, more than likely 7 and 8, if anything at all. And just looking at the impact that could have on our district that way and what we can offer students. So Andrew will make that decision and they'll make the best decision for their students. But Maquoketa and Bellevue both attended a meeting a couple of weeks ago in Andrew. There was a public hearing on it. They do need to make a decision by no later than February 1st. But we also have a little handout brochure in the notes that you can see in the comment highlights. COVID-19 update. Our numbers are low here. I don't want to jinx us at all, but our numbers have been low here all year for anywhere from staff to students and anyone else involved. That way our numbers have been low in Bellevue, which is a real positive. We've had about 14 total cases as of the time of the board meeting. I also have some information from the Jackson County area and what's happening in Jackson County in the notes. Then we adjourn the meeting, and our next meeting is on Monday, December 13th. Some other information, I talked about some extracurricular things that way, support for our other programs and how that support works. We talked about athletic boosters, some changes that happened there, and new officers. We also talked about prom and after prom and when that is and how that's going, and some information in there with that. And then we also talked about, hate to say it, but snow removal. Just so you know, 2 years ago on Veterans Day, we had a late start because of snow and just about canceled school. Fortunately, we did not have to cancel school, but we had to reschedule the Veterans Day program that year based on the late start. So ultimately, I don't think it's going to snow enough, if at all, for tomorrow, Thursday. But I just recognize it could be a lot worse than the rain that's out there right now. We've been blessed with outstanding weather. I want everyone to know that. I encourage you to take a look at the parent survey and other information on the website. If you have a question, please feel free to call me at any time or contact me at any time. Have a great one, everyone.